Hey guys, I'm Dave.
And I'm Alex.
And we just got back from watching the new Dragon Ball Superheroes movie, and we wanted to share our thoughts.
So yeah, we saw the whole movie. We saw it with our buddy Christian. It was pretty fun. Overall thoughts on the movie. It was good. It was a really good movie.
I liked it start to finish, basically.
Yeah, and we've been the three of us have been seeing these movies since they started coming out in theater, and many times since then. But the production value is always really high. I've never really had a complaint with the overall story and the combat, the music, etc. They're all really highly produced and just a really good piece of content in the end.
You know, I had a couple worries when I watched the original trailers with like the whole 3D thing. I thought it might look a little trashy, but actually, you know what? I was like super immersed while watching the show.
Yeah.
Like I noticed it right when it started. They had like this panning shot of like a car driving, and at first I didn't like it, but then after a few seconds I got my brain got used to it, and I actually really liked it. There was a lot of effects they were able to do because of the 3D.
I had the same thing. I kind of, especially that car, but also there were other times where it was very noticeable to me, and I liked the Dragon Ball Broly movie animation better, but also I'm not so picky. I'll take what I can get, and this wasn't a bad animation. It was just different.
And I mean, with Broly, that was just like a masterpiece. It was so nice. Like everything was like nicely shaded, nicely hand drawn. But the models in this one still looked good.
It gave us a lot of information because there were several new power-ups. This is in the future, so Pan is 3 years old, so it's at least like 3 years from when she was born. At this point, Vegeta and Goku are training with Broly, with Whis and Beerus, and Cheelai and the other guy are there as well.
Yeah,
and
I remember the girl, but not the guy.
Yeah, no, definitely remember her because they just keep showing her and other people and certain areas of their body quite a bit.
If you watch this movie, you'll see a lot of butts, some exposed, and not the ones that you'd like to see exposed. Let's just put it that way.
And a couple of crotch shots too. It's weird that we have to talk about it, but it's legitimately a reoccurring thing that happens in the movie.
I actually really like the kind of interactions between Goku, Vegeta, and Broly. How they're kind of taking him under their wing to try and calm him down a little bit. And you can see how he really appreciates them as like mentors.
Yes.
They have like this fight scene, which they don't actually show the fight until the very end. But you could see like after the fight between Vegeta and Goku, he's like crying because he thought it was such a beautiful moment.
And even though they're all the same age, or roughly, like I think Vegeta's
like 4 or
a little older, and Broly very much seems like the little brother, and he did miss out quite a bit of development as like a person and growing up. So he is, a little bit more immature, but he definitely looks towards both of them now as kind of mentors, and that's a very, very cool relationship that hopefully we get more of in the future. Just to cap off the Vegeta Goku stuff, one thing that's interesting about all this training is because it takes place in the future after the current arcs of the manga, they they basically future-proofed the scene by putting conditions that they could not use any forms. They had to fight in base power. Vegeta is reflecting on the Tournament of Power and the way that Jiren fights, and that he's very calm until he attacks. And that's kind of like a general, it's not a new form, it's just a general strategy. It's kind of weird that he's reflecting on it 3 years later. Like it's or not, it might not even just maybe 2 years or something, but either way, like it's pretty far in the future, but again, very vague way of them like powering up without actually affecting what can happen in the manga or can happen in the show. So
I mean, there are some differences even between the manga and
definitely
the show, but we'll see. Apparently we'll have maybe another video about that, but apparently there's another series in the make, so I wonder if they're gonna redo the manga arcs, go their own way, how it's gonna connect. But you're right, they future-proofed it. And actually, one more thing about the time gap that I liked, not only do we have a cute little Pan, which I really liked her character, we can talk about that in a little bit, but I also like that they finally aged Goten and Trunks. They were little toddlers for so long, and they tried to like canonize it by saying like, oh, Saiyans are tiny till their growth spurt.
Yeah.
Which I guess but Gohan grew up normally, didn't he? He was like a teenager when he was a teenager. He was a little kid.
I feel like Gohan's Cell Saga form or age, I guess, is what these guys are at now.
I guess, yeah.
Like kind of like they're short, but they're not GT teenagers yet.
Yeah.
They're still like shorter than that.
Yeah.
They're probably elementary realistically, which is great. which is crazy still.
We can start talking about the plot a little bit. So the movie starts off kind of giving a recap, a bunch of exposition, but I didn't mind it.
No, I always love it, and it's all newly animated too,
it
right?
Looks crisp. It looks crisp.
Yeah, it looks really good. They showed a lot of the history of the Red Ribbon Army, of the Cell saga, Android saga, all that kind of stuff, catching you up because, and we're not going to recap the whole movie, but Dr. Giro's grandson is now building androids for Red Ribbon Army, and one of them attacks Piccolo, and that was kind of a cool fight. So we have this Gamma 2 revealed. He fights Piccolo. Piccolo escapes, follows him back to the Red Ribbon Army headquarters.
In a really cool, like, Mission Impossible style setup where he knocks out a guard, dresses up as him.
Fakes having bowel problems, flies a plane horribly.
And they canonized the driving scene because that used to be filler, but now they kind of went, I never got my license.
And that's right. And you know, it's not legal for the Demon King to get a license on Earth. So I think that was really cool that they still made room for all the classic humor, because some of the things I loved about Broly, about the resurrection of F and all that stuff, there was lots of humor in all those movies, and they kept the humor coming, and it was appreciated.
Yeah. But it wasn't just humor. There was a lot of, like, tear-jerking scenes. Like, every time... Like, for example, I really liked how Piccolo is kind of like the grandpa of Pan now. Like, and they even have a scene where Pan's like, can Gohan be as strong as Grandpa? And then Piccolo goes... Grandpa? Oh, you mean Goku? Yeah. Where he's like kind of offended that he's not Grandpa.
Yeah, because Piccolo really is Gohan's dad.
Yeah, for sure.
Everybody knows that. I think that whole relationship with Pan was really interesting, and like I felt really good when she was able to fly at the end. Yeah. So Piccolo, what was cool that we saw from him was that all of a sudden, the insistence that he has to put an end to this conflict, he really stepped up in terms of his power. So he had to take the next step, which was wishing for his potential to get unlocked. And so while he didn't become too much more powerful in his base form, he gained a new form. And that was our first form reveal of this movie, which was entitled Orange Piccolo. We don't know if that's going to be stick or not. So I'll give my first impression first, and then we'll hear what you have to say, Dave. But my first impression was, he looks kind of evil. Is he gonna be like is he not gonna be able to control his power, or is he gonna be like, he just looked weird to me. It quickly grew on me, and I liked the form by the end of the movie.
I thought it was really cool. Like, I kind of like the more evilly kind of characters a little bit. I liked that design. It did look kind of more old school, like King Piccolo. Yeah. So I remember telling you this when we were coming back in the car. I thought when I think Gohan asked him, like, what do you call this new form? I thought he was going to say, because the villain, or not the villains, but the Gammas were calling him King Piccolo the whole time, and the whole time he's saying, no, I'm not King Piccolo anymore, I'm just Piccolo. It'd be cool if he's like, no, I'm the Demon King Piccolo, or something like that.
Demon form, something like that.
Because even the whole reveal of it was actually pretty cool, because first the dragon, when he makes the wish, he just says, I'll give you just like a little boost. And so he gets like a little bit more jacked, and I feel like his color turned a little bit more yellowy. Didn't like a off green a little bit.
It's hard to tell. It could have been the animation.
It could have just been the animation. But then when he first gets beat up by Gamma, he's like falling. He's like been defeated. And then he has like a little flashback of the dragon saying, I'll give you your power plus a little more. And then something snaps, and he has like that golden like emblem on his back, and then he transforms. And I thought that was pretty cool, because he finally got like a Super Saiyan transformation.
Now, we don't know where this puts him in terms of power levels with other characters quite yet. It basically puts him above the Gammas, but we don't know how that relates to Ultimate Gohan, unfortunately, because although he did seem to take care of the Gammas easier than Ultimate Gohan was, so maybe he's at that level then, because Ultimate Gohan was still finding his strength, but he was trading blows back and forth, whereas with Orange Piccolo, it was one-sided.
Oh, he whooped their butts.
Exactly. So we still have to see how that fits in, and it's so tough because these movies come so far and few between that we really need a show to pave the way and kind of give us more information about this. So we had a couple of villains / heroes introduced, which were the two Gammas, and David, why don't you walk me through what you kind of thought about those guys?
So I actually kind of like them. I like how they took the Dr. Nero, who's Jiro's grandson, and he's not actually a bad guy. Like, he's got like some little twisted things going on in his head.
Yes.
He's okay, sure, he's a little bad guy, but he really wanted to make superheroes, and so he didn't want to, make like Cell. So he was working on 2 projects. He was making Cell, which is his grandpa's project, and then his own. And I like how he added that spin of how they're actually good guys. Eventually they were able to be convinced into stopping the fight versus Gohan and Piccolo, because they saw like Pan getting hurt. The inner good guys in them kind of came through. So I liked how they had like during the movie like a kind of an arc.
Yeah,
I liked that a lot. I liked how they played off each other too. How there's the one, Gamma 1 is like very like stern and serious.
Yes.
And Gamma 2 is like really goofy, likes making poses. He's like leaning on him like, yo, what up?
I thought their voice actors did an excellent job.
Great job.
And I also thought it was kind of interesting how they had a lot of cool martial arts techniques, but then for their blaster fire, they just had blasters.
Like a blaster gun.
If they dropped their blaster, they wouldn't have access to that part of their ability, which is really pretty interesting. I also thought that the Dr. Nero was kind of an interesting character, but I'm not really sure that he is a good guy.
No.
Because like he throws, I know it's a comic thing, but he throws a grenade into the prison when he gets out. He talks about how he will kill, them with this bee, which he ends up doing. And sure, he killed the bad guy, but then at the same time, instead of robbing a convenience store, he reanimates 3 dead people
to
work there and earn an hourly wage. Like, so I guess he's not evil. That much is clear.
Yeah,
like,
he's maniacal maybe, but like not really evil.
Doesn't want to take over the world.
Yeah.
Doesn't want to have mass destruction. He just doesn't have a conscience necessarily in terms of how he achieves the things that he wants to achieve. So he's mad scientist, but like he's a step down from the true mad scientist, I would say.
And I thought the 3 of them all played into each other really well. And I guess to kind of tail off into Dr. Nero, I like that scene where he was trying to stop Magenta from summoning Cell, and how they set up how this Cell, although more powerful, is like brainless at the moment, so it's not worth summoning him.
Yes.
And how he was constantly putting it off to work on Gamma 1 and 2 a little bit more. And then when Gamma 2 died, and that was like, because he sacrifices himself. That scene was really good. Super good animation. Music at the moment was... So I'm using 2. Oh
my god! So yeah, the main theme for this movie was an absolute banger. It was amazing. We got so many variations on it, and that was redeeming of Nero. That when Magenta's dead and the Cell's being unleashed, he doesn't escape right away. He stays and tries to stop him from coming out until the very last second. Yeah. And once he's up and gone, like he's left the lab, that's when he gets on that speed bike or whatever, and he gets out of the lab. Like he doesn't just run away. Yeah. He's not a coward.
And then he also leaves to warn them, right?
Yes.
He's like, cells activated, like get ready,
Yeah, so that actually was very endearing to me, and that was a big step towards me liking him as a character. He was a funny character too. Yeah. He's just chowing down on those Oreos.
Yeah, and I really like that. And then that one scene where the Oreos, like he's out of Oreos and he's like about to cry, and then the robot comes and his like he just glares in like his smile.
Now we were driving home from the movie theater, and you were mentioning in the car that you don't always like those fights where it's a big guy versus a lot of little guys. And I agreed with you, but we kind of were discussing how the whole thing fit into the superhero theme. And in superhero movies, there's often this gigantic villain force monster that the superhero has to come up against. So while it's not necessarily a Dragon Ball thing, although we've seen it, it was more of a superhero thing. And that it was very much on theme and on point. So and it paved a way to a very cool and
Piccolo fight.
A cool Piccolo fight, right? And so we'll talk about Giant Piccolo, but also a cool finale on what happened with Gohan.
My main criticism with like little guys versus big guys, it always just looks like little flies attacking, whatever. But they were able to correct that and make it seem really natural too by making reminding Piccolo that he has this giant form, like what he did against Goku in the whatever martial arts tournament in original Dragon Ball. And then my main criticism kind of dissipated because then we had a cool like giant versus giant fight, and they were able to kind of go neck and neck a little bit. So I really liked that, and I liked how they had actually like just the original Cell fight, how everybody's holding down Cell for Gohan to try and finish him off. Like,
right. So they worked in some of the other Z fighters, and that was all cool to see. We got to see the failed fusion Gotenks, and he actually contributes to the fight.
Yeah, it doesn't just end right away. He actually fights the entire fight.
Now Gamma 1 comes and helps as well, but the main thing is that we get a replay or kind of an homage to the Raditz versus Goku and Piccolo, except this time Piccolo is the one that's going to hold someone still while somebody charges up a certain attack, which they alluded to.
Yeah. Oh, and I got it. Did you get the tingly winglies?
I did.
When Gohan did this, I'm like, oh no, is this about to happen?
He's not using Kamehameha. He's gonna use the special beam cannon.
His dad's technique.
His real dad's technique. And it's literally a repeat of what happened to Raditz with the same attack and everything. But there's one other part of it that we haven't mentioned yet. And of course, you've watched the movie, that Gohan is trying to get enough power to get this done, and he's seeing his friends almost face death, and he snaps at a certain point, and what is revealed but a brand new form above Ultimate Gohan. And so what went through your head when you saw that?
So when it was happening, the transition, when the dust settles, and then you see Cell Max holding Piccolo, you can see Gohan snap, and they use the exact same, almost frame by frame, of when Gohan sees Android 16 get crushed, and then the same kind of red line, the screen goes black, the red line goes, and then the red line expands to this like kind of glowing thing, and then he transforms. And I really liked how they made this new form look exactly the same, like hairstyle and everything, just white and different colors, but the same proportions as when he turned into Super Saiyan 2 for the first time.
Right.
Like slightly longer hair, the bigger bang.
I think that's on purpose.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Yeah, exactly. It's a fusion of Ultimate Gohan and his anger form, basically. Yeah. I know it's Super Saiyan 2, but really for him it's something more meaningful than that. It's a rare thing. Like, I don't know that he'll power up to this easily again without us. Be a hard thing. It's not going to be a regular form. It's his two forms merged together, and boy was it powerful and very epic looking. It was the whole thing at that point of the movie. I didn't feel like I was watching a movie in 2022 anymore. I felt like I was watching old Dragon Ball.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, definitely. I had the tingles the entire time. It was really good.
All right, so I know we haven't covered everything that happened in the movie. It's a really long movie. A lot of stuff gets packed into it. We're not gonna go for a super long time in this video either. But what I'm curious about, David, is where does this movie rank in your hierarchy of the new Dragon Ball movies? Yeah,
so of the last four, if you start at Resurrection F, Battle of the Gods was
Battle
first.
of the Gods, yeah.
I think it's better than Battle of the Gods. I like Battle of the Gods. There was a lot of really good scenes in that one, especially comedic.
Yes.
But I didn't feel a lot of tension other than a couple scenes in that one.
Yeah.
Then Resurrection of F, I really liked, but then I feel, as a Vegeta fan, I feel like it was so close to being like a perfect movie until Frieza blows up the planet and they have to like reverse time and steal it from Vegeta.
Yes, and I do think Resurrection of F was the funniest of all of them. Yeah. It had the best lines.
It had a lot of good lines.
Yeah.
And then Broly was just like, I need more hands to go more like that. So I don't know if it's better than Broly, but it's definitely, I'm going to rewatch it many times throughout my life. It was really good. There's a lot of things that I liked. I like that they used other characters other than just Goku and Vegeta.
Yeah.
But they did use a little bit of Goku and Vegeta. What did you think about it, Alex? Where would you rank it?
I still think Broly's better, and that's not just animation. I just think overall it was better. I think this is probably my second favorite of the new ones, although it's really close with the Resurrection of F, because that one I loved. That one was so much fun to go watch in theaters. But I do think that the worst one, and again, it's not bad, is Battle of the Gods.
Yeah.
Okay, and the second thing that I wanted to ask you, Dave, is at the very end, the post-credit scene, we get the conclusion of the sparring match between Goku and Vegeta wins. And I want to know, do you count that? Is that a real win?
As a Vegeta fan, you got to take what you can get. Goku admitted it. Everyone admitted it. Whis admitted it. You know, you don't see the battle. I'm sure it was epic.
Yes.
But he knocked him down. And he won.
And they alluded to it. They, we said you can already see that all of the meditation that Vegeta's doing is clearly paying off in this fight. So there was an edge that he had over Goku. It's kind of a weird edge because, again, Goku wasn't allowed to use Ultra Instinct, but kind of what they're talking about is Ultra Instinct in a way.
Kind of, yeah.
Again, it was very vague because they wanted to proof it against other things that could happen in the manga or the anime. But
I will say it's a little bit different than Ultra Instinct because it's attack based as opposed to like dodging attacks and stuff like that. Although Ultra Instinct has like those cool where like the 50 hands come out of nowhere, but that's also kind of like a Jiren technique, right? Where he's like whatever, and then a fist comes out of nowhere. I think that's like what Vegeta's kind of alluding to is attack without predictability.
Yes, and with all your force, while then after the attack you're back to calm and you're not using expending your energy and losing endurance for the whole fight. So that was kind of all of our thoughts. I mean, there's so much more to talk about. It's such a good movie, but again, you can't talk all about it in one video. But we are curious what you guys thought. We'd love to hear people comment down below and say what they thought about the movie and what their favorite part was, maybe their favorite fighter form or that kind of thing.
And if you're the type of viewer that didn't actually watch the movie, you're just kind of curious about people's thoughts, I will say you should watch it. It's really good. Great time. Yeah. Great time. Yeah. Well, thanks for watching, guys.
Bye.